Well, hello there. I'm Raakhee Mirchandani. I'm here with Pedro Beirute, CEO of Costa Rica Trade Promotion Authority, PROCOMER. PROCOMER is the government agency responsible for country exports, trade facilitation, and free trade zones. Well, hello, Pedro. How are you?
How are you, Raakhee?
I'm
To have
great.
this conversation with you.
Yeah, me too. It's great to be together today. I know we're here to discuss the resiliency of the Costa Rican export sector, and I want to make the most of our time together. So I'm going to hop right into it. Okay.
Sure.
Resiliency is something that I think so many of us have thought about over the last year as we've been home, as we've dealt with the pandemic. And despite the current crisis, Pedro, I'd like to know a little bit about how Costa Rica has proven to be a resilient country, sort of eager to get ahead with an innovative, solid, and diversified export sector, during and after the pandemic.
Sure, Raakhee. Well, as you know, Costa Rica is a small country. It's a 5 million people, 20,000 square miles. And the way we have built resilience is not really based on what we've done in the last year and a half or two. This has been really decades of investments. To the world, Costa Rica is known to be a destiny for ecotourism, where you can enjoy nice vacations in the beach, volcanoes, rivers, and so on. But behind that, there's a whole society model in which we have invested for decades in education, making it free and mandatory, in healthcare, universal healthcare, in peace, democracy, stability, of course, conservation, sustainability, and lately also an openness to trade and investment. We have more than 50 free trade agreements with 50 countries. And the world has seen us as a way in which companies can come, invest, and of course, buy from. This resiliency is really based on the fact that we have been able to maintain business continuity during this year and a half. Our factories have not closed, our services have not closed. We've managed to show versatility, flexibility to the world, based also on a strong institutional framework that helps business continuity.
Yeah, you talk about resilience in that way, and I'm sort of thinking about the current context and how Costa Rica has used virtual tools to show its resilience and business continuity, to be able to overcome and continue to position itself as a key player in foreign trade and global markets such as North America. Can you talk to me a little bit about how sort of the correlation and connection between resiliency and virtual tools?
Yes, of course, pandemic has brought a lot of uncertainty, difficulties to do business, tension between the sanitary and economic measures. It's been a crisis without any precedent for humanity. However, as with any good crisis, we found the opportunity to take advantage of it, basically because globalization will continue, trade among countries will continue. So what we did was to accelerate all virtual tools and capacity that we had. Of course, this is not just working from home, it's really beyond that. It's about using the right tools, having the right mindset, adapt fast, and show to the world, to our customers, to the investors, that we have this resiliency to keep the business running. It's no different from what the rest of the world is doing, but I think for us, the name of the game is speed, agility, versatility, and also the footprint or the bedrock that we offer to the world, a country that it's sustainable, that invests in diversity, in equality, in inclusion. That's all part of our value proposition to the world. Near the US, of course, 2 hours away from the United States, and with a lot of common ground between the two countries, and that's what has helped us somehow take advantage of this inflection point in humanity.
I know that PROCOMER has developed a strong concept, right, Pedro, and messaging to be able to promote businesses with purpose and businesses that have that strong, positive environmental, social, and economic impact that you talked about. In practice, what does it mean to international buyers who do business in Costa Rica?
Yes, that's our mantra, business with purpose, right? And when we say business with purpose, we are talking about ethically correct businesses with triple bottom line or triple return. We call it 3Ps, people, planet, and prosperity. Basically, what we are doing is to promote, support, and accelerate businesses that meet these criteria, meaning that you are doing good as well as doing well from a social, from an environmental, and from a financial standpoint. Costa Rica, it's what I call a country of hope. It's a well-being country in which we try to have these balances, this equity, this inclusion, this diversity that makes us different, special, and helps us meet some market niches that appreciate that. 100% of our electricity comes from renewable sources, to give you an example, and rule of law prevails in Costa Rica. So there's a growing percentage of companies, businesses that want to do business with ethically correct countries and with ethically correct business companies. And therefore, we see that as an opportunity for us. And we're not just taking advantage of this trend. This is something that we have invested for the last 70 years. Therefore, we have the moral authority to talk about environment, to talk about social, to talk about right governance, to talk about what makes good countries good.
You talk about good and you talk about well, and doing well now looks different than perhaps what it did last year or 2 years ago or even 5 years ago. And I know that the services sector, as an example, has been one of the sectors that has been hit the hardest by the pandemic, with a 29% drop in service exports in 2020. What's the strategy that Costa Rica is following for a rapid recovery of this sector, and which activities are moving faster?
Yes, the foundation of our strategy in terms of trade is diversification. Half of our exports are goods, half of our exports are services. Even last year within pandemia, our exports of goods made well. Costa Rica was one of the few countries in the world that grew exports of goods during the pandemic year because of our diversification. We export more than 4,000 different products to 150 plus countries. And that goes from medical devices, advanced manufacturing goods, to fresh products like coffee, like pineapples, bananas, as well as food. In terms of the services sector, within services, we have tourism that accounts for half of that. That, of course, had suffered during the pandemic. But we also have a super strong shared service center ecosystem where large multinationals offer their services to the world together with ICT. Information technology is part also of our main services that we export from Costa Rica, thanks to that talent, that education that I was mentioning before, and that helped us compensate for the reduction in tourism. The fact that we have several companies doing services, high-end services, value-add services to the world, together with IT. And when I say IT, is IT the big concept of Industry 4.0, meaning from cloud to artificial intelligence, data, virtual reality, cybersecurity, you name it. We are trying to maintain this diversification, this balance of forces, also both in the urban Costa Rica together with the rural Costa Rica, so that we build that stability, that diversity, that inclusion, and that equity that we want to promote.
You've talked a lot today, Pedro, about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know that promoting diversity and inclusion has been strategic for Costa Rica. I was hoping you might be able to tell me, so by 2021, what are the main projects that will help you move towards digitization? So e-commerce strategies to reinforce commercial strategy.
Yes, everything we do, we have KPIs that are connected to SDG, right? Sustainable Development Goals. Within that, We measure how well we are doing in terms, for example, of gender equality. What percentage of our exporters are led by female? Or what percentage of our exporters companies are in rural areas where we need to reduce poverty? Or how are we promoting green companies, sustainable companies, companies that do circular economy, or big companies, things like that. So we have programs for each of these niches where we have, for example, a women export program, which is an accelerator program in which we recruit companies that are led by women, and we have like a special track understanding the needs, the specific needs that they may have. And then we teach them, we help them, we support them on this internationalization process, going from selling locally to selling globally. And the good thing, Raakhee, is that this is, again, doing good and doing well. We're doing it not just because it is the right thing, but it is also because there's a return on that strategy, right? We know, for example, that there's increased levels of productivity, of efficiency on companies that are led by women. So we're taking advantage of that. That's our strategy to be more competitive, more productive, and win in very challenging international markets.
Doing good and doing well, Pedro. It's something I'm going to be thinking about in my own life. So thank you for that. Is there anything today that you wanted to say that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
Thank you, Raakhee. I see the world can see Costa Rica as an example, as a country of hope, a country that for decades has invested, as I said, in free education, in free healthcare, in protecting the environment, in developing a sustainable business model, and of course, in stability, democracy. All of that is the right recipe, the right combination of factors that, together with our location, our incentives, our talent, and so on, help us build a society that turns GDP into social progress, so that more and more people can benefit from trade.
Well, I'm glad we got some time together, Pedro. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.
All right, Raakhee, thank you very much.
Thank you.
What?